Heather Hulan, the sister of Anthony Hulan. And for those that don't know, Anthony Hulan was murdered in the city of Lansing jail. And before we start with the discussion, I want you to see it, see the video, see the information, and hear it straight from the victim's family on exactly what happened. So check out this video. What you're watching here is the video of the murder, and there's no simple way to say it. And as we are watching this, I want us to be clear. I want everybody to be clear on where we stand from the Poor People's Campaign on a national perspective as it relates to police brutality. We stand for demilitarizing the police and into the 1033 program that sends military equipment to local law enforcement and ending all military training for law enforcement, banning the use of force as a punitive measure or means of retaliation. This is why this is so key here, this next piece, and that we need to hold, we, the Poor People's Campaign, we hold the police, law enforcement, and local governments accountable under federal law as well as state law for abuses of their powers to kill and enforce the duty to intervene. This here is the video you're watching. As you can see, there are three people kneeling on Anthony Hulan right now, four people with their hands on his chest. One has just walked away. Now you have the three people that are still kneeling and pushing him down. From the accounts that was in the autopsy, he was given a sedative, and at this point, they've not only thrown him down on the ground, but bent down, as you can see, with their knees on his chest, all across his body, hands on his chest and across his body. And from what I understand from the family, he's just trying to get some air. I mean, as you all can see it, you can see it right here in the video. He's literally just trying to get some air. And that's where it cuts off on us. But we have Heather Hulan here. Also on the panel, we have here Tobias, who is a quad chair with the Michigan Poor People's Campaign, along with myself. We have Alicia and Ashaki, both from the Free People. They're both organizers with the Free People. So, Heather, first of all, welcome. Thank you for joining in, being able to tell this story. As we know, too many people see the stuff that's in the news, and they pretty much try and justify murders or killings, especially when they come from the hands of law enforcement. People that are deemed to protect and serve essentially become judge, jury, and executioner in those moments. So, Heather, I want to give you an opportunity just to kind of let us know what really happened as it relates to Anthony and ultimately what became him being murdered.
Yeah, well, as far as what you saw there uh, earlier, I'll start from the beginning. So earlier that day, and this is the information that I know, um, around 12 o'clock or 12 or 1 p.m., he was arrested for an argument with his roommate. So cops were called out for a domestic dispute. But again, it was his male roommate. Um, he was cooperative with the police. The police reports show that. He let them photograph his hands. He did everything, and it says right in there that he was cooperative. He came with them. He got to the jail, and I guess he went to sleep. He took a nap for about 8 hours.
Mm-hmm.
He got up, and that's when he started acting. They say agitated, which I haven't seen any video on that, so I don't know, but that's what it says. And that he was complaining to them that he didn't feel right. He was really hot, he was overheating. And so they took him to the hospital. Um, Once he got to the hospital, he was there for about 2 hours. And he admitted to them that he did smoke meth the night before. Um, no, that wasn't something he did all the time. We would know, but that's neither here nor there. He admitted that he did smoke meth about 24 hours prior, but he felt that it was laced with something else. And so they tested him, and it was. They had put something else in there, which would explain his behavior and how he said to them in the reports. It shows that he said that, this isn't right. I've never reacted like this. Um, so, that explains that part of it. And then they did give him something like a sedative a few times to try to calm him down. And it even says in the reports, that he was having involuntary movements, like he couldn't stop twitching, they call it. He's like, I can't stop. I'm not doing it on purpose. And so they released him. When they released him, within 15 minutes, they get back to the jail, and then we saw what you guys just saw. So that's, then you see him going into the jail, but they state that he's struggling and he's fighting against them. What I see, if you look really close, is that he's not fighting against them. He's fighting to stand up. He's trying to stand up. Like, I mean, at this point, the man couldn't even stand up.
Right.
And they never asked him to kneel to the ground, like they say. They pushed him to the ground. You can see that. He didn't fight them getting the cuffs off his feet. He let them do that. And then you see the pressure that they put on him. I mean, the one guy's got his leg all the way stretched out to the toilet, kind of holding his pressure, and that's right here. It's right here on his neck, on his back and his neck right here. So I mean, and then once you are struggling for air, I mean, are you going to start moving? Are you going to start wiggling? Of course you are. Of course you are. You're fighting for your life. And he begged them several times. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I'm passing out. It hurts. I can't breathe. I'm really, really this time I'm passing out. And they still didn't care. They still didn't do anything, as you see. They didn't attend to him afterwards, to give him medical attention once they finally figured out that he wasn't sleeping.
Right.
And then, that's basically what led up to what you seen in the video.
Okay. So Heather, this happened in April, right?
Right, April 11th.
Okay. April 11th, 2020, just to give you all a timeline. And George Floyd was killed almost in the same manner the next month. Um,
6 weeks. Yep.
but what we're dealing with here is that so I want you all to understand the gravity of what happened. Her brother, their family member, was killed in the jail, and they couldn't get any information from them. Heather, can you kind of take us through that? In that he was killed in April, but you all couldn't get any information and had to file a lawsuit. I know you can't speak much about that while the lawsuit is there, but this is a family that just wanted to know what happened. Like they literally just wanted to know what happened to their family member. Heather, can you
Right.
elaborate on that?
Yeah. So first off, they didn't even contact us. Um, we found out from a third party, and there was already an article in the newspaper about it by the time we heard about it. I did have the police come to my door, but they never contacted my parents. I mean, the police out here in Arizona,
Mm-hmm.
but they never contacted my parents. Immediately, I'm on the phone, with calling the jail, calling the hospital, calling the morgue, everyone trying to figure out what happened. All the only information we had, which is just sad is what was posted in that article, which that article said due to a medical, however they put it, a medical event.
Mm.
And so no one would talk to us. I couldn't get anyone at the jail. No one. It was, when I would get through the automated and get to somebody, nobody knew. We don't know. We can't talk about it. We can't tell you anything. Um, it wasn't until at least 3 days later. I think it was on the 14th. So he died on the 11th, and on the 14th, I finally got a hold of someone at the jail, and they still wouldn't tell me anything. Wouldn't tell me why he was arrested. I mean, even that. Why was he in jail? Like, we don't know. Why didn't he have a phone call? Why didn't he, because he would have called somebody. Like, what happened? We don't understand. You can't just say that but that's all they would say. So it took me about a month and a lot of digging, a lot of work, a lot of jumping through hoops to get his medical record from Sparrow.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what told us. I mean, we already had an idea of what happened because, it's terrible. You see this all the time. I mean, you see it's become our reality. Just everyone, so I got the medical report myself, and that gave a lot of information as to what happened, um, and why he was arrested. That's how we found out why he was arrested, because it was in there. No details, but just in general. So, yeah, that's pretty much, and that was in May. And that's after that we filed a lawsuit because I still could not get information from anybody, from the police department, anyone from I called every day about an autopsy because they did an autopsy that same day. I mean, the lady, I had talked to the morgue the day he died, and she said, "Oh yeah, it was already done." I'm like, "Well, what happened? Why did he still couldn't tell us?" I waited until the end of July, and I called every day to these people, and they kept saying it wasn't done, it wasn't done, it wasn't done. Well, then all of a sudden it's done.
Mm-hmm.
We can't give you the information because it's under investigation.
Wow.
You know,
Yeah.
really? But it's
Wow.
it's
Yeah, they
our
didn't
people,
investigate that hard if those cops are still working.
Yeah.
right?
Uh,
Well, it
and
was
I,
under Michigan State was investigating it. So there was a detective. It was turned over to Michigan State Police. So that was the investigation they're referring to. But still, it's our family. You can't just tell. It's been 4 months at this point. You know what I mean? And so yeah, that's what I've been doing, and we've been doing for since the day it happened, is just trying to get information. So we did file a lawsuit because we can't get. How else are we going to get information?
Exactly.
It's
I'd like
and
to take
then
it back even
yeah.
further to uh, what before he was arrested, like, because you told me you didn't know much of this story until very recently. Having talked to some of the people that were close to him here, like what exactly happened. That you were told it was like a domestic dispute, and then you got some more of that story more recently. Can you go into that at all?
Just yeah, just I guess he had gotten into an argument with a buddy of his roommate, and um, a third party in the house, I guess, is who called the police. I don't know who that was. It's not in the report, but that's what we heard. Um, and then, like I say, just through the police record, they take the statements from everyone, and Anthony said that, he didn't touch the guy, and then the guy says that he punched him in the face, and so they took pictures of Anthony's hands, and decided to take him because he didn't have any marks on him. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much all there was to that. So it was a misdemeanor. It's like the people who fight at Walmart on Black Friday, or you know what I mean, and pushing each other, and somebody's going to get taken. It was that kind of deal, from what we understand, and from what the reports show. So really nothing to it. I mean, he should have been out, on Monday, because that happened on a Friday. Um, so yeah, definitely nothing that requires the death penalty.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
just significant as a Lansing person who, has just lived in Lansing. You see this happen, and you don't ever wish death on any of the people that this situation is playing out with. There's usually something, an issue to do with poverty at the root of it, and you just wish them the best. But what our city is doing for those people is, uh, terrible. This is one of the worst examples, but most examples aren't great.
right, true. Yeah, and it's scary because it can happen to obviously to anyone, which we've known that. Of course,
Right.
there's circumstances that it happens to certain people more than others, but it's that pack mentality that they have, that they I don't know why they do that. Like I mean, as a little kid, if you ever had a brother or sister that you wrestled with, and they've got you down, you can't breathe, they let you up. I mean, that's a little kid, because they know that they're going to get in trouble if they keep you down there. I mean, it's just common sense that something bad's going to happen, and the fact that they didn't even have that respect for human life, that they just didn't roll him over and let him breathe. That's all you had to do.
Mhm.
Um, but there is also the fact that when we saw him, he looked beat. His face and other parts of his body, and nobody has. We're still that's a myth, still a mystery. We're still trying to get because we never got the videotapes. We ended up getting the videotape right, probably maybe a month before you guys saw it on the news. Um, and that was the only videotape that we saw. So we still have questions. It's still a mystery. We're still trying to find out information. We're still digging. It's an ongoing process.
Okay. Um, I had a question for you. So who has contacted you from the city of Lansing, and what did they have to say?
No one. Nobody's contacted us.
Contact-
Not one person, even to this point, even after it going public. I thought that maybe uh, we assumed, because that's what you get, that even the mayor or Chief Green or somebody would do, or their people would do a press release about it, to say something to us, the family. But no, nope, nothing, not a word.
Well, um, I just want to say this, like, calling law enforcement shouldn't lead to someone's death. It should never lead that way, regardless of what the situation is. It should never end that way. Um, so I just wanted to say my piece about that. And as far as like who would you expect? I know you said like the mayor, um, maybe the governor, someone to reach out to your family, um, but that didn't happen. So was there any other expectations that you had as far as the city or what you wanted to see happen?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't necessarily know who to expect to call. We just expected someone would reach out to us and give us the information we're asking for. Just in general, what was he arrested for? Um, after we got the videotape. So let me back up a little bit. With the article, there was it stated that the four officers involved were placed on leave. Um, so why didn't we have their names? They still to this day have not released their names, by the way.
Wow.
They haven't released them. However, they're supposed to release them within 48 hours unless there's a direct threat to them. So, and that's on the public website of
Mhm.
how they should proceed. We had to find that information out ourselves once we got the videotape, and then the lawyer had to dig. So why didn't we even get the decency of that type of information? There's just
Right.
there's a lot of there's a lot of questions, a lot of things. Just it's like they didn't care. It was just disrespectful to our family. You just didn't even care, and the answers we get is once the investigation's over, then we can file a FOIA for it for the information at the same time that
Wow.
it's released to the public. So
Um, yeah, I've got a question kind of for everybody on the panel here. Um, just that this this murder bears a lot of similarities to George Floyd. Um, Collectively on this meeting, there's a lot of boots on that were on the ground this summer. A lot of hours spent out there over George Floyd. Um, and George Floyd got a ton of national media coverage, local and state media coverage where he was at, and why has our media been so quiet about it? I want to start with DJ on that, just because we've run into a lot of problems seeing various media more attached to the mayor and other city governments than our actual community. Um, so yeah, can you touch on that a little bit, DJ? Oh, I think you might be muted.
Yeah, I was. Appreciate that. I would say the short, simple answer to that is that, too many facets of our media here locally are too biased, right? And they're intertwined with the very government that is killing our folks, right? So any way to make it look like, and this isn't even just locally here, this has been media nationwide. Any way to make it look like the people that police have killed deserved it.
Right.
That's usually how media turns and twists, right? But this is a huger issue, and why we, as the Poor People's Campaign, I don't want to speak for the Free People, but I believe all of us would say that when we put too much power in the hands of folk, they begin to treat people like property instead of like people, right?
Exactly.
And so when people come within that jailhouse, when people come within their realm, within their environments that they patrol, now they're their property versus another person. Like, these are human beings, right?
Exactly.
So what happened to Anthony? What happened to George Floyd? What happened to Sandra Bland? What happened to Eric Gardner? What happened to all of these folks that died by the hands of police is that people and the media have tried to control the narrative to get people to think that this property deserved to get put down, right?
right.
And
Criminalizing the victim, what they're doing.
exactly. You blame the victims, and now you treat them less than you would, like I said the other day, even a dog. Like, we give animals more respect than we do people that we think deserve to die, right?
Mm.
It is no man, no woman, no person has the power or has the right, has the moral right. This is why we're doing this on a Moral Monday. Nobody has the moral right to say if a person needs to live or die. That's just not our moral right. That's not our moral duty, right? And anytime we have positions within our government and within society that says we have the right to take a life, then all of those areas of government need to be reevaluated, right? Need to be reevaluated in a way, in one, first and foremost, that's humane, but also two, that holds people accountable for these types of things.
Right. And
A lady.
just kind of, oh, sorry, Tobias. Just
No,
saying on
go
top of
ahead.
that, this happened inside the jail where there was no person taking a video of it. So that's why you didn't hear about it until 6 months later, because
Yeah.
and everybody asks, why didn't you say anything about it? Well, because there was nothing for me to say that anyone would believe because I had no evidence. I had no video evidence. And so that happened. And, you know, of course, we know of George Floyd that happened to him, but there's Nicholas Farah, there's Ramon Lopez was out here in Arizona, Daniel Prude, Elijah McClain, there's Derek Scott, of course, Eric Gardner. There was over a hundred people that we know of. And Anthony wasn't on this list because nobody knew of that because there wasn't a video in the last 6 years. So how many are there that we don't know of? That we don't know that this has happened? I mean, I'm sure a bunch of those names nobody's heard of either because they didn't get the attention as well. This happens way more than people realize, and it doesn't just happen to men or women, because I know a lot of us just think it happens to men, you know, they're just fighting men, but it's not. It's you, if you actually look, do research, and see how many people this has happened to, men and women. But again, there's, you know, how many like Anthony that you haven't heard of in the jail, and they are getting away with this, and they do need accountability. You know, one thing I wanted to bring up is you know, it's huge for me, and I really want to put efforts towards this year. You know, we need the community to understand what qualified immunity means, what it is, and how impactful it is. How impactful it would be to get this law changed, because reform isn't enough. Without the consequences, you know, there's just no incentive for these police officers to not do what they do. There is no consequence. They are patted on the back. They, you know, it's, you did a good job. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You hear in every video, don't worry about it, man. You're gonna be okay. It's gonna be all right. So without them having any consequences, you know, even when if they do by chance relieve them of their jobs, they just go to another state or another city and they get another job doing the same thing. So here they are still on the streets. These are murderers, or you know, or people who, you know, because police brutality is huge. You don't have to die for this to be wrong. I mean, that's still happening everywhere, and they get away with that. So we need that to change. That's the law that needs to change. We need qualified immunity to go away. They need to be held accountable, just as you or I would be in that same situation.
Leja, you want to talk about this summer a little bit and how we were reacting to George Floyd, and how we might have reacted if we had known that had happened in Lansing.
Yeah, I feel like that pushing out the video during like election time where people were like distracted, I feel like the city was more distracted focusing on other things. So when you're putting out a video, people are just gonna like look at it and just keep scrolling on their social media. I feel like the way that they put out the video and like how the story was played out, I feel like it doesn't give us to like, oh, maybe he deserved it. Like I don't I man, I during the summertime when I found out, it was just like heartbreaking because like even when we protest because police from across the nationwide, just knowing that cops that I've been facing daily is murderers. Like they murdered someone in the jail cell, and the fact that they got away. Well, I hope they don't get away with it. I know that we're gonna serve justice for Anthony, but it's just crazy because like they probably believe that they can do more than what they just did to your brother. Like,
Right.
I, but I feel like the video doesn't like tell us as much about your brother. So can you tell us about your brother and what were your accomplishments and your what made you proud of him?
Yeah. My brother, Anthony's, he goes by Tony for everybody else, but for our family, we call him Anthony. So he's I mean, he was super fun. that's the one thing about him is he's a super cool guy, and even if he's having a bad day, he wants you to have a good day, and so he, is always trying to make you laugh, and um, he's always got a joke. He's just never serious. He's always so funny. But he was really, I mean, everybody says this, I know, but he really was, and he literally has, even for me, giving you the shirt off his back. If he has nothing else, he could be homeless and he would still find a way to help you with whatever you need. He was big into race car driving. He was a drag racer. He had recently got another car that he could never got a chance to race. And that was his passion. Him and my dad used to be at the track all the time when he lived out here. He's lived in Michigan for about 15 years. But prior to that, he'd race out here and all of his buddies and, him and my dad, that's their thing and always has been. He used to race when we lived close to Chicago. He'd even have my brother Stoney out there with him. So it's always been kind of like a family thing, and that was his passion. Um, but just he's a friendly guy. I mean, everybody loved him. He loved everyone. Um, it's what you see on the video, what you see on the video, if you could hear the audio, you hear him kind of making a deep, like they call it growling noise and stuff, and I hate that because it's, that's him in pain and that's all people hear, you know what I mean? But, he's done videos for his car sales. I mean, you go on there and listen to him and hear how he is, he's just a good guy. He's just a cool guy and he didn't deserve this.
Yeah. So, Heather,
So,
can you tell us about you're planning on coming here sometime within the next couple weeks? What can you tell us about that a little bit?
yeah. So, my sister and I are flying out. She's in Texas. I'm here in Arizona. So we're going to fly out on the 24th. And, we would like to be able to go down and have you know, uh, our say. And, we're trying to see if, we can get some support, um, to kind of show for Anthony and the life, you know, that he doesn't have.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, we know how tough this is. Just even going through the events and everything, and even having to come here to do this just to get justice for your brother. I mean, I can't imagine, nor would I even, you know, dumb the situation down to say I can relate, right? To have something like this so tragically happen to your family, not to have details, to have to come here to hold people accountable, um,
Right.
it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking for me, so I can only imagine, for you and your family, how how much.
And they make it this much harder, you know. It's just having to, do this. It's every day. Every day I have an email, I have a text, I have a phone call, I have something reminding me every day. And the fact that I have to, that, we're the victims. He's the victim, we're the victim's family, and you're making us, feel like he did something wrong. Like he didn't do anything wrong. I mean, he was arrested. I'm not talking about that. He was cooperating. He was doing what he was supposed to do. And the fact that we have to sit here and try to you know talk about or prove his character is ridiculous.
Right, right,
Yeah, and it's hard. It's hard every day. That wound, it just we can't grieve, we can't heal because it just keeps going. You know what I mean? It's every day, and it's just an open wound for us.
right,
So
right. Well, you have a lot of love and support here, and you have a lot in the comments here. Kelsey Brine has said, Heather, I will never stop fighting for you and your family. And this is Kelsey from Faith in Action. Solidarity and Defense says, thanks for doing this event today. We are very sorry for your loss, Heather. Um, my aunt says, keep up the great work. Keep telling, the story. LaShawn Irby says, sending you love, Heather. Elaine Bond, we stand with you, Heather. So you have a lot of support here, a lot of people um, that are here to walk alongside you and really spotlight this issue, right? This is not just an issue, but it's a travesty that things like this in 2021 are still happening, continue to happen, right? Um,
Right.
and the fact that this type of brutality, it goes across the board, right? The fact that people abuse this type of power, it doesn't matter who you are, and it can show up at any one of our doors. So there may be some people that are watching right now, or some people that may be watching later that may say, well, they helped me out and they've done this for me, but get to a point to where you are down and just life in general, and you are no longer in the top echelon of socioeconomic class or society, and then be in that position to where now you're treated as just property and not even a person, right? And what I
Exactly.
want what I want you all, what I want everybody watching to understand is that there are more people that are treated like this every day than there are people that are not, right? So the fact that we have the majority of the people, not only in this country, but in the city from state to state, that deal with these types of issues when it comes to the lack of communication with police, when you have literal murders that happen to your family, like all of us deserve to speak up and say something about it. We have to. This has to change. And it only changes by us using our voices, by the people really
Right.
coming together and spotlighting issues like this to say it can no longer happen, it won't happen anymore.
Right. Which, it's with, my brother and George Floyd, um, you know, with George Floyd, it's opening a lot of people's eyes. I mean, the fact that there was so much um, outrage for him, is a good thing to see. That people care. I mean, it's finally, what I mean. This has been happening for years, and finally, people are really, I think, starting to get it. And it's sad that it's taken these many lives for it to happen.
Right.
But hopefully with this, we can get something changed. It's a long road, and it's tough, and people have already been working on it, but it needs to happen faster. But you're right, we're the only ones that can do it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So what does justice look like to you at this point? I know you can't say too much, but in an ideal situation, at least just to have some type of, help, or you can never have closure in this type of situation. But what does at least a smidgen of justice look like at this point?
For us, for our family, we want those officers involved to be held accountable. We want them to be relieved of their duties. We want them to be charged and to do time for the crime that they committed, just as you or I would have to if this is us.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. And what can we do when you're coming in town? You're going to be in town for how long? For a week, I think you said. A few days.
Just a week, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And then so just so everybody's aware, we the Poor People's Campaign, and Ashaki, Alacia, y'all speak for yourself with this one, but we're all planning to be with you during those days to really help to spotlight the issue personally. Uh, so we'll be downtown, and we'll be letting everybody know, how to come along, where we'll be at, where we'll be organizing at, just to really not only spotlight this issue, but so you all can see firsthand, personally, face to face, like these are the family. This is the family that is dealing with this issue, and we stand with this family because we're only one person's, not even just one person separated from this happening to people in our own families, right? So, and this is humanity, right? Like we're all family anyway, right? It's just some people need to catch up to realizing that. But we'll
Right.
we'll be there with you every day, making sure we spotlight these issues, making sure that the people that have done this are held accountable. And unfortunately, this type of non-communication, it starts from the top down. So we gotta hold our top officials, city officials, from the mayor's office to the city council, to the commissioners, everybody accountable, because the fact that this story continues to be suppressed, speaks to the gross injustice that we continue to deal with.
Exactly.
Tobias, you had a
I'll
few.
say I just dropped an event on the Metro Lansing Poor People's Campaign Facebook page just for the next city council meeting. So check that. And also, America 20 to Life is about to drop one of the events. We're working on a car caravan for when Heather is here, on Friday the 26th at 1. And that's got at least the Poor People's Campaign and We the Free People on it, but hopefully some more community groups and organizers. I talked to a few different people, like Ruckus from Solidarity and Defense is going to push it out. I'm sure the Lansing Tenants Union will push it out. So that'll be good. And I think America 20 to Life is going to make a Facebook event for that later today. Erica Lynn just sent me a message about it. So
Yeah.
Great, great.
And I definitely appreciate everyone for backing us. This, I mean, it means so much to our family to have the amount of support from everyone. Strangers have given us the most support of anyone. It's been amazing. It definitely restores my faith in humanity. That's for sure. Um, but it's really it's all very much appreciated.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the least we can. I want to put his picture up here for people to see. Um, this is Anthony Hulan. So I want you to see him, to see his face, and to put a name to it, right? The before you see it in anything in the media, this isn't suspect. This isn't, person of interest. This is Anthony Hulan, who was murdered in the city of Lansing jail, right? This is a real person, a real human being. It could be, this could be any of our brothers. This could be us, right? So I need you all to see this, to recognize this, that these are real people that are being slain, and real murderers that are just walking the streets like it never happened, right?
Right. And for no reason. I mean, for no reason. Nobody's life was being threatened. He wasn't armed. He was shackled, his hands and feet. What's he gonna do to you? What? And he's face down. What's he? What threat is he? What threat was he? You know, it's yeah.
Exactly. And
Something needs to be done.
the least we can do is to raise our voices. Like even in COVID, like where we can email, we can tag folks. So people in the comments, tag these city officials, let them know, like they're going to be held accountable. We are going to hold them accountable. With these moral Mondays, this is what we need to do to make sure the very people that are responsible for these things, but also are responsible for giving this family some information. They just want to know what happened, and it's crazy that they had to file a lawsuit just to find out what happened to their loved one, right? And just to kind of summarize for the people that have tuned in, we played the video of the murder that happened within the city of Lansing jail, right? But Heather broke it down and let us know the details surrounding it. He was sedated while he was there in the prison. And the reason he was twitching was because of all of the things that they had sedated him with, right? So he not only was he sedated, but then you had 4 people that held him down and 3 people that continued to kneel on him, pressing their knees and their hands on him until he ultimately died. Right. So regardless of what you see or what you hear within the media, it wasn't necessarily it wasn't the drugs. It was the drugs that they gave him. Right. What they pretty much held him down with, not only the drugs, but with their knees, with their hands, and killed this man. Right? We need you all to see this and to hear this, and that it wasn't a domestic violence dispute like he was fighting with his girlfriend or anything like that. He and his roommate were in an argument. Right. So some of this has
Right.
happened to many people even watching now, and you walked away with your life. Unfortunately, this man didn't. So we have to speak up and speak out about it.
Right.
Ashaki,
Yeah.
did you have anything else to mention? I'm sorry. I know I've been yapping away. Y'all got to stop me.
I think you muted Ashki.
No, we can't hear you. All I see is you listening.
Okay. Oh, yes. Still on mute. Alicia, did you have anything while Ashaki is in that?
I would say that I'm gonna be out there during the blizzard. It could be an ice storm. I'm gonna be with my flag. I'm gonna play my music and just make some noise.
Yeah. Awesome. You're still on mute.
Love it. Oh, no.
Let me see if I can take you off. Okay. Okay. All right. So can you give us the dates again, Heather, when you'll be here?
The 24th. I dropped my headphone. Sorry.
Oh,
24th to the 3rd.
okay. 24th through the 3rd. The 24th of February through March 3rd. Every day.
March 3rd, yeah.
Do we know what time yet we're going to be meeting? Or where can people find that information? I guess Tobias, you can find it on the Metro Lansing Poor People's Campaign page. We'll also be sharing it out to all of the areas that we're sharing the video out right now. We're sharing it out on the Michigan Poor People's Campaign page. This is a part of what we do when we talk about Moral Mondays. This is a moral mandate. Again, just so you're aware from a national perspective, where the Poor People's Campaign stands is that we hold police, law enforcement, and local governments accountable under federal law as well as state law for abuses of their powers to kill and enforce the duty to intervene. So we do not stand, nobody should stand for any type of any type of killings, period, right? And we're just here to spotlight these issues that continue to happen. These travesties, issues, it doesn't even seem like the right word, but these travesties that continue to happen to families like this. Heather, anything else you wanted to say before we close?
No, I just appreciate you guys, and I appreciate anyone who comes out to support us on the 26th. It'll really mean a lot. We really need to show them that, he hasn't been forgotten, the situation, that the city hasn't forgotten what happened, and the cover up that happened as well.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we thank you so much for even doing this today. I know it was tough, but you are a brave woman. So we stand in awe at your courage, to stand up and to speak out. I know it's tough, and then to relive it, every time telling this story. But we hope and pray that we'll be one of the ones. Well, we know we'll be one of the ones to continue to spotlight this story and to bring attention to it, to let people know you have to do something. We can write letters, we can send emails, we can tag folks. There are a lot of things you can do even from your own home to make sure that things like this do not continue to happen. So Heather, again, we appreciate you. We love you. We support you. We're here for you. We'll be here with you to welcome you with open arms, with coats and gloves and everything else when you get here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. Tobias, did you have anything else?
Nah, just the city council. One of the many ways it's not designed to help marginalized and poor people is that their public comment, where you can talk about any Lansing issue, doesn't usually start until 9:30 or 10 o'clock. So when if you're trying to help and join us on city council a week from today, um, expect that to go late. We didn't start the second uh, public comment until 11 last week. So be aware that's a
Wow.
late night.
Okay, and we do have a message from America 20 to Life. They said the case has been covered in great detail on their page. You can go to their page also, and look it up. Check back in October and November, also with the city council members. Um, and they said that it's been discussed in great detail, but the council has still not commented on the issue, which is crazy. Um,
Yeah, shout out to America 20 to Life for being like the first local media to really break this issue in a meaningful way, and kind of thereby allow the community to engage with the issue increasingly. Um, what Elijah said about us being wrapped up in national politics at the time the video came out is true.
mhm.
Um, I'm not proud of it, but we're moving past it, and happy to be working with you as you are with us, Heather.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. And again, this is his pictures right here, on the screen. This is Anthony Hulan, the brother of Heather Hulan, who was murdered in the Lansing City Jail. Um, so make sure you speak up, speak out, say his name. That's his face. Screenshot the picture. If you need to, come back, check this video, but make sure you speak up and speak out, to our local officials to make sure that the people that murdered this man is held accountable, and that we finally get at least the inkling of justice for this family that has been grieving, um, for far too long, especially as it relates to the details around this case. That there's no way people should be able to sleep at night knowing that they have this family here that just wants information, that just wants to know what happened, that just wants some type of justice for their brother. That's the least people can do. So, again, Heather, thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Ashiki. Thank you, Elisha. Thank you, Tobias. Thank you all for tuning in. As always, we'll be doing this. We'll be doing this every Monday. Something every Monday, spotlighting the issues on Moral Monday, that we deal with not only here in Michigan, but something like this that should be nationwide coverage, right? We're going to continue to push the envelope. Heather and Hulan family, we're fighting with you and for you. We'll be there with you. as I said, to welcome you with open arms when you get here. We love you. We support you. God bless you and thank you. Family, we're fighting with you, for you. All right, all. Thanks for